Hey, this is Lewis from SoFly, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a call to action box section. So just so it looks good to start, I'm going to add some pre-built components from the next design set. So I'll toss in a hero, and then we'll toss in, I guess, this icon grid, and then we'll delete that button and just put a call to action in its place. Okay, so here we go. It looks like a real website, because it is. We'll delete this button, and then we're just going to drop a call to action section in here. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and add a div to this section right here. So go add fundamentals div block. And it looks like this is already spaced pretty well because we got some margin or padding at the bottom of this section right here. So we'll just put our call to action section inside this div. So what I'm going to go for is sort of a white background with sort of like a shadow, sort of a floating effect. So I'm going to make this background of this section just slightly light gray. In fact, it's already at slightly light gray. I made it a little bit darker. And then we're going to go ahead and make the background here white. And then I'm going to put some border radius on each side, let's say 4 pixels border radius, and we're going to go box shadow, 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 0 pixel from left, 0 pixel from top, 4 pixels of blur, and then instead of the default black color, we're going to use a very light gray, like a 10% opaque black. Okay, there we go. So our call to action is going to go inside this box. We're going to try to make it in the same style of the rest of this section. So we're going to have a blue button and then maybe a heading and a subheading. So to start, I want the heading and subheading to be on the left side of the box and the button to be on the right side of the box. So to do that, I'm going to add another div. I'm going to set this to float left. And inside this div, I'm going to put a heading and then a subheading. So make this one H2 and shrink it down. And this one, we'll say H3 and shrink it down even more. And then on the right, we're going to have an actual button. So I'll add a text link and set this to float right. Now, I'll click one of these headings, go up to the div that contains them, and set the text alignment to left. And then I'll go to the call to action section itself, and we'll set, let's say, some padding. Say 40 pixels of padding on all sides. That looks pretty good. Now for the headline, and then for the subheading, I'm going to make this a little lighter weight, and so you'll make it sort of a light gray. Let's just copy the color from, that we're using elsewhere in these pre-built components. So we'll copy that color for that, and then for the heading, we'll just use the color of the heading. Maybe that's a little bit too light for this heading. Let's see. Nope, looks pretty good. Yep, that's, you know what? 69, 71, 77. And this is, okay, looks great. The reason this is lighter is because of the transparency. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now let's just go ahead and create the button. Say, get it now. And we'll make this a blue button. So we'll just copy the same blue color from these links, set it as the background color for the button. Then we'll put some padding on the button. Let's say 12 pixels top and bottom, 20 pixels left and right, and white text. And we want to vertically center this. So we'll just use some top margin to push it down until it's showing up in the center vertically, which it is now. And let's add some border radius on it to round it out a little bit, 3 pixels border radius. Okay, there we go. That is how to create a call to action section in Oxygen. Now let's say we want to make this responsive. So less than 992 still looks good. Less than 768, it starts to get a bit cramped. So what we're going to do is actually just center the two headings. So we'll go to the div containing them, and no more float on this div. No float, so that'll make it full width again. And then we'll just center the content inside of it. And then for the button, also no float. And it's going to be centered because the section, the content of the section is centered. And we'll just put some margin on the button right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this will look good at lower resolutions. And here's how it looks on the desktop. Okay, that's how to create a call to action section. Then some other alternate styling options you could have would be aligning this text to the right, actually, and sort of centering everything. So the way you do that would be to, let's see, we want to center everything in here and no float, and no float on this as well. That's going to make it full width. What's the best way to do this? Display this as an inline block. There we go. Okay, so as long as they're both inline blocks and they're next to each other, it'll center the content in the section. Now the alignment of this button's not correct, so you take the margin off. In fact, we might have to use, how do we center this? Because it's an inline block, margin's not really going to affect it. It's going to sort of align with the text. So we could use relative positioning. Okay, that looks pretty centered, and then let's move it away from the text with 20 pixels of margin. And there we go, that's an alternate style for the call to action section. Okay, that's how to create a call to action section in Oxygen.